Welcome to NHK Newsline. I'm Ramin Malagard in Tokyo. Japan's chief cabinet secretary says North Korea has launched a ballistic missile that may have been medium range and in an eastward direction. The missile is also believed to have been launched on what is called a lofted trajectory, meaning at a steeper angle than usual to reach a higher altitude.
If the missile was on a normal altitude of about 2,000 kilometers, off the Sea of Japan coast.
Matsuno says the Japanese government has set up an emergency task force to gather information. He says at the moment, no damage has been confirmed. The government has lodged a protest with North Korea through diplomatic channels in Beijing. South Korea's military announced that the projectile was an intermediate-range ballistic missile on a lofted trajectory. It says the launch was from Gangnam province and towards the Sea of Japan. South Korea's military is conducting a detailed analysis with the U.S. military. This is the 7th launch Pyongyang has conducted so far this year. On Friday, North Korea said it had conducted test launches of long-range cruise missiles on Tuesday and tactical guided missiles on Thursday. The country also fired what are believed to have been hypersonic missiles on January 5th and 11th. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is scheduled to hold a foreign ministerial meeting on February 16th and 17th. ASEAN members are expected to exchange opinions on how to deal with Myanmar in the meeting, which had been postponed. The Cambodian Foreign Ministry made the announcement on Saturday. The country is the ASEAN's rotating chair this year. Cambodia initially planned to host a two-day meeting in Cambodia from January 18th, but it announced the postponement several days before the gathering. The agenda is likely to include sending a special envoy to Myanmar to mediate dialogue between the military and pro-democracy forces. Since the coup in the country, ASEAN members have refused to invite Myanmar's military leader to the group's summit. They cite the junta's continued crackdown on pro-democracy groups. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen seeks to bring Myanmar back to ASEAN summit. Visited Myanmar in early talks with the country's. Some other ASEAN members reacted sharply to the move. Officials in Beijing are on high alert for risk of infection ahead of the Winter Olympics next Friday. The game's official mascot and a countdown board have been set up in a popular theme park in a move to boost the Olympic spirit. However, few visitors one city government has decided to make sure everyone in the community knows what to do when disaster strikes, no matter what their nationality.
The disaster drill is underway in Maebashi City, north of Tokyo. 21 residents are taking part, all from the foreign community. Participants are told what to do after a quake or typhoon strikes, and most important of all, where to take shelter. Getting to evacuation shelters is key. Officials learned this lesson from a natural disaster 3 years ago. In 2019, a typhoon triggered landslides that killed 4 people in the city. Despite the danger, only a small number of foreign residents showed up at the public evacuation shelter.
And those are the top stories for this hour. wrap up this edition of NHK Newsline. I'm Ramin Melagard. Thank you very much for joining us.
NHK World Japan English Radio Service. Here's a frequency notice. The broadcast of 4:30 UTC from Monday through Friday, 5 hours UTC on Saturday and Sunday for South Africa is on 9.865 megahertz, and for West Africa, 7.245 megahertz. The broadcast of 14 hours UTC for Southeast Asia is on 11.925 megahertz, and for Southwest Asia, 6.165 megahertz.
Thank you so much for tuning into our show. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Ruth. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Living in Japan is a program for international residents in Japan, whether now or in the future.
We share hints and tips to make the best out of your life in Japan.
Ruth, it's 2022. How do you feel right now?
I feel great.
Is there anything you have in mind? Any New Year's resolution or anything like that?
Well, my theme for this year is actually blessings. Because I feel like we need to count our blessings this year. And just be grateful we're here, that we can interact with people, we can have enough food to eat, and just count our blessings.
Wow, that's such a great resolution. On the other hand, what I have in mind is I have to stop eating midnight snacks. Recently I've been eating midnight snacks, so, I just have to stop. I'm getting fat every day. So, speaking of midnight snacks and food, some of our listeners may be looking to do some cooking this year.
Right.
Today's theme is for those. Let's try everyday Japanese cooking.
Whoa.
Making Japanese cuisine at home may seem very difficult, but today's theme is about the everyday food that is eaten in Japanese households, and we're going to be introducing some recipes that beginners can easily follow. Let's get to the main section of the program. Hints from Senpai. It's time for our main section, Hints from Senpai.
Senpai is a Japanese word for whoever has more knowledge or experience than you. Every single show, we will invite a different senpai that can give us tips and hints on how to do things better.
And today, we have a Japanese home cooking chef, Yuka. In the past, we have welcomed international senpais living in Japan, but this time, we invited her to come as a Japanese cooking senpai.
Yes, Yuka was born into a farming family in Fukushima. After adding tofu, wakame, seaweed, and your favorite vegetables like spinach, long onion, maybe mushroom. Wait a minute, it's just dashi and miso together and that makes miso soup? Right, that's not hard.
That sounds really easy.
We can do that.
We can. I already feel like I can have the ability to cook now, actually. Just by talking about it. Okay, now let's have a little break and listen to some music. Yuka, you picked a song for us today, right? Right.
During this time, we eat ozoni, a Japanese New Year's cake. Here's the next one. Ozoni is a pancake made with dashi soup stock, fish vegetables, seafood, greens, and rice cakes. And there are two types. Tofu style with pickles and Kyoto style with using white miso. But there are many other different types of ozoni all over Japan. That's what makes it really fun to eat ozoni all over Japan. Because everywhere has their own unique kind of take on it, correct? It's like ozoni is sort of the soul food, the local food of that area.
Wow. you know, like in the past, I've tried to opening up like a dessert shop.
Right.
At that time, it was really difficult for me to get the recipes organized.
Uh-huh.
And just by hearing this, it must be so much sweat and
Right.
so much effort and time just to, you know, get the recipes on point with the actual same recipe from India. That's so much respect.
Total respect.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get the same ingredients grown in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game changer right
That's a
there.
whole nother level.
And I really believe that he's contributing to Japan's globalization. And I think activity like this in the international community will continue to increase.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. You can find this episode on a website. To do that, please go to NHK World Japan's website, click on Demand, and search Where We Call Home. The episode which Ruth introduced today is Business with Passion and Spice. So, this show is a community. We are looking forward to more and more listeners joining us. You can listen to the show on the NHK website too. Go to NHK website, click on Demand, choose Audio, and search Living in Japan.
And if you have someone who missed to listen on this radio show, please tell them how to access this. Also, if you have any comments or requests, please send us a message through our website.
We will be back on February 6th. We'll see you again here, Living in Japan.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.